thing you notice about this door is it won't close properly, and somebody has put the hardware on backwards, in addition to most of it being worn out anyway. Also, the weather stripping is all but gone. This happens over time. Doors just wear out. So today we're going to replace it with a new door. Not only will it look better, but it should work much better as well. In order to get started, I've got a utility knife and I need to cut this bead of caulk that goes all the way around the door trim so that when we take this off, we don't damage the drywall. I've removed the two strike plates. In addition, before I remove the trim, I'm also going to take the door down. That'll make it easier to get a pry bar in here to pull this trim away from the wall. All you need is a hammer and either a nail punch or a screwdriver to remove these pins from the hinges. Instead of using a pry bar to take the nails out to remove the door jamb, I'm using a reciprocating saw. If you don't have one of these tools, you can rent it at your local hardware store. We don't think there's any wiring around this door, but just to be on the safe side, I've turned off the power for this area. That's because this tool will cut through just about anything. I'm also going to remove the exterior trim, and when I'm finished here, because we're not going to use the door jamb again, I'm going to take the reciprocating saw and cut this in half. That'll make it a whole lot easier to remove. I've already put down some caulk to make a good seal between the floor and the bottom of the threshold. And because this door is pretty heavy and it has a lot of glass, Brian is going to help me put this in place. Ready? Mm-hmm. Okay. Now once we get this in place, I'm going to go in just to make sure that it's flush with the drywall, and then I'm going to put in a couple of finishing nails just to temporarily hold it in place. There are plenty of companies out there that make doors. This particular one that we're putting in is made by Stanley. And now that it's in, we need to shim it up just to get it level and plumb. So I'm going to put a shim behind every hinge. But I'm also going to put some in this area here between the deadbolt and the lock set. And this will make it much more difficult if anyone were ever trying to use a pry bar to break in. Now we need to check to see if our door is level and plumb. And that looks good. You also want to check to make sure that the door opens and closes easily and that it doesn't catch anywhere. So since our door is in good shape, I'm going to drive some finishing nails through the shims and then also through the door jamb itself. I'm just trimming off the excess shims to make these flush with the wall. And now I'm going to use a foam sealant to insulate between the door jamb and the wall. And a product like this is easier to use than it would be trying to wedge fiberglass insulation between here. If you'll notice, the manufacturer left a couple of holes in the top hinge and then one each in the bottom two hinges. And they also provided us with a 2.5-inch screw. So I'm going to screw this in, and this will go deep into the stud, and that'll provide us with extra strength and security. I'm using a miter saw to make the 45-degree cuts for the door casing. I've already measured and marked each piece, so all I have to do is line this up and make the cut. Now to finish up the inside, I'm going to run a bead of caulk all the way around the door casing. As you can see, the new door is just a little shorter than the old door was. So I've cut a piece of trim and primed it to fill in that gap. And I'm going to use 4 finishing nails to attach this with. I've caulked around the outside casing just like I did on the inside. And that's it. We're finished with the installation. Depending on which door you choose, you can spend anywhere from $200 and up, and it'll probably take you most of the day to complete. The door has a primer on it, so now it's ready for whatever color the homeowners decide to paint it.